Blade and Bow.
Welcome to the Whiskey Vault.
To the Blade and Bow.
To the Blade and Bow. I'm Daniel, that's Rex.
And
that's Blade and Bow from Stitzel-Weller.
Blade and Bow. We're not actually drunk, we're just idiots.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a bourbon whiskey, Kentucky, straight out of Louisville.
That's right.
Louisville, Kentucky.
Or Louisville. Or Louisville. Or Louseville. I will see you in a second.
Alright, so this is what I want you to do. Are you ready?
We just started recording.
I know.
Okay.
Do the thing where you actually analyze and you talk about the whiskey and there's things in there and it unfolds and you add a little bit of water and then you add about 8 different whiskeys to try. Do that thing.
Do that thing?
Do that thing.
Okay, well, let's save that for the scotch tomorrow, for the single malt tomorrow.
People are tuning in
for
some expert advice, and I promise you, if you don't give it, I will make some up.
Okay, done. So, this is Blade and Bow. This is a special edition whiskey from Stitzel-Weller.
Yeah.
And remember, we had the Weller, and we liked it.
Okay.
And they only do 2 of the Blade and Bow. They do the Blade and Bow Classic Straight Bourbon, and they do the 22-year-old Blade and Bow, which I don't have. Lovely bottle. And I love Stitzel-Weller. I like everything they do. If I had to pick bourbons, I always end up really enjoying what they make.
Is it weird that I'm getting grass on the nose?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. But there's also citrus in this one. Mm-hmm. Kind of fruit smells. Oh, that is just a friendly bourbon.
Floral.
Right?
Very floral.
Very floral. Almost carnation floral.
Yeah.
Like a overwhelming, full bouquet of flowers.
I see what you mean by citrus. It's floral, it's citrus. I'm getting the tiniest hint of mint.
Yeah, and no aggression.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the mint. Yeah, that's lovely. Mm-hmm. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Isn't that a great bourbon?
Yeah. Oh, I like this bourbon. There's a lot of interesting things going on in this bourbon. A lot of times you'll get a bourbon, it's like, oh yeah, it's a bourbon. This, yes. I mean, why even do that? He does that like it's a question.
Yeah, I just didn't have enough in there to really get a good smell. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to tell you something about this. The way they make this is very unique. Yeah. It's done in several scotches. It's not often done in bourbons.
Okay.
And it's super cool. It's common in wine. It's called Solera casking. Mm-hmm. Now, or Solera aging. Solera aging. It came about through, I think it's like sherry and things like that. But essentially, here's what happens. It's a way of aging your whiskey and blending it together to keep an average, consistent flavor profile while continually getting your average age up.
Okay.
Over time.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you like this brand, you can have a consistent experience in the brand, and you can
increase the age slightly.
Yeah.
Now here's how Solera aging works. Super cool, and this is more complicated than this, but the fastest visual is think of a pyramid of barrels, mm-hmm. and it's not true. They're really, but anyway, pyramid of barrels. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Right. Your bottom one, you aged 4 years ago, right? So now you can call it straight bourbon and not put an age statement. So your bottom barrel's 4 years old. Or let's just say, no, the newest one is 4 years old, which means that bottom row of 5 is now, 9 years old,
okay.
Right? So you pull from the 9-year-old barrels, but you don't pull everything. You pull like 20-30% off. And so you leave 70% left in that barrel, right? And then you make a whiskey with it.
Yeah.
Then you take what was in the row above it and you refill it. Right?
This is a pyramid scheme of whiskey.
Yes, and then you refill the dead space from the top down, and the final round of dead space gets filled with this most recent run.
Huh.
Right?
Yeah.
So by the time it ends up being barreled, it's always a minimum age of 8 or 9 years old, assuming in that plan.
Yeah.
Right? But you're always feeding into it from new stock, but you're always maintaining a little bit of the old stock mixed in.
Interesting.
It's this blending process.
So the main thing that they're going for here is consistency then.
Yeah.
Consistency while progressively making it more aged.
Yes.
And hopefully more interesting, nuanced, complex.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So you have to have the self-restraint to not just barrel everything you got in those barrels, to save some for next year.
Yeah.
Right now, that it helps if you have tens of thousands of barrels of whiskey at your disposal. But
Let me ask, is that Solero thingy you're talking about one of the reasons why?
for thousands.
One of the reasons why, this is an interesting, there's a lot of things going on here, because, it's rare for me to have a bourbon and go, this has some layers to it.
Yeah, to me, I feel like this whiskey, as much as I love it, is not married together very well.
You think?
No, here's what I mean by that.
Yeah.
Often in a complexity, you'll feel something change in kind of a line, right? So if you get a scotch, you'll take a sip, it'll be one thing. It'll open up a little bit, it'll change, you'll swallow, something else will show up, and you get this sort of on-track opening of a whiskey. This one doesn't have a linear complexity.
Okay.
This one is like a firecracker. It goes in like 9 directions all at once on your first sip.
Okay.
To me, my brain equates that to not married long enough together to create one cohesive unit. So you have all these different things, you're blending them together, and they're all providing interesting nuances.
Yeah.
But they're still sort of maintaining their own individual character.
Right.
Right?
So the complexity is just a one-shot boom, and it's immediate, and everything you're going to experience in that whiskey, it's front-loaded.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're saying, your word is was it merging?
Married together. Yeah, the longer they spend sitting in one barrel all at once.
Right. Then a sip of whiskey will change from the tip of the tongue to you swallow it to it unfolds a little bit.
Yeah, because you're creating a chemical reaction at that point, right?
Okay.
With heat and saliva, water. So this one feels and I love this whiskey, right?
Yeah.
But this one feels like everything that happens in the first 50% of the drink.
The word I always use is unfolding, and it's probably
Yeah.
wildly inaccurate. But there's some whiskeys that you try, and it's like, that's an interesting flavor, and then it changes, it evolves, it develops into something different.
This one doesn't do that, or this one does that, but it does it really fast and all at first.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I can see that. I like it.
Right?
You like it too?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And you could drink it over and over trying to find the 6 different things it's doing really well. Mm-hmm. But it's doing them all at once, and it's hard. It's like trying to read the brand endorsements on an F1 car as it goes by you on the track, right? You're like, no, that's next time.
So let me ask this: what bourbon would you consider to be a bourbon that unfolds and develops?
The Weller. I mean, if you want to pick one from the same people, I would pick.
Yeah, let's compare.
Yeah, let's do it. So, let's do. What's a good one? Let's just try the W.L. Weller 12.
Yeah. We need glasses?
Yeah, we're gonna need new glasses. See, when you encourage me to nerd out, the videos get longer and longer.
And I get more whiskey.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
So this is one that unfolds.
Wait, let me make sure that I didn't just lie to you before you take a sip. Where did I put the cap down just now? There it is. Okay. So this is, by the way, we can do our own video on this one, but this is a W.L. Weller 12 straight bourbon.
This is not the firecracker explosion of flavor all at once. This is something that...
Whoa, this got candied. Yeah, okay, I was right. And there's rye notes in this one that the other one's not popping out.
Yeah.
This is a wheated bourbon, though.
Mm-hmm. I see what you mean.
But see how it feels rounded?
It does.
And it kind of moves in like a little slow river as opposed to a rush of rapids.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I'm being simplistic, the flavor profile on the very, very beginning seconds, it's different after 12, 15 seconds into the thing. Takes me on a nice...
But notice that same cough drop cherry thing you got on the wheat whiskey?
Hmm?
Notice that it's in here too?
To a lesser extent, yeah.
This is a wheated bourbon. These are little things that can help you track down what grains are being used in a whiskey, right? And for every single person, they're not going to describe a grain effect the same way, right? The way that you experience rye, not going to be the way that I experience rye. So my head is going to explain it as pepper, and you may be totally different. But what you do is if you try them,
right,
you learn to recognize it yourself.
So
I'm going to go back to that blade.
A week and a half ago. A week and a half ago. I was up
so much
here...
better.
And there were some people, and you had this clear whiskey. And you said it smelled like horse sweat.
Yeah, alfalfa.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's talking about this really kind of like
Poitín.
dirty environment.
Yes, an
And
Irish clear spirit.
Well, it was the weirdest thing because I tried, and this is like fresh and minty and just the complete opposite of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Total opposite. And you narrowed it down. Say, look, do you like cilantro?
Yeah.
And everybody in the room that likes cilantro, they
Thought it
raised their
tasted
hand.
great.
They thought it tasted really fresh and minty and super. Everybody in the room that hated cilantro, this was like horse sweat and crap in the corner.
That's totally true. And all
Yeah.
the people who thought cilantro tasted like soap, they didn't like the poitín.
Mm.
So it's genetic.
Yeah.
It's genetic.
So I just have better genes than you.
Yeah, I think that's debatable.
So what we've confirmed is I'm better than you on a molecular level.
Yeah. Damn it.
It just happened.
All right, well, I'm going to, soothe my wounds with more WL Weller 12.
I'll help you.
Yes. Till tomorrow, may your crazy stay this side illegal.
May you return before we have time to miss you.
Cheers.